Hello and welcome to another acysecurities video. My name is Alistair Schultz and I'm going to be your host through today's trading journey. Now in this video I am giving a bit of a market update slash a recap of what we've kind of seen today so far. So at this point in time the S&P 500 has retraced from those all-time highs, but the Nasdaq has continued pushing on ahead. And as for the reflation trade, what actually is going on? Well, if you were to have a quick look at the Russel 2000, it looks like it's all in full action right now. So keep an eye on what's happening on that front. Realistically, what is the scenario going on behind the scenes from a fundamental perspective? The first thing to take note of is that there's been lots of discussion about Joe Biden's stimulus package, somewhere in the vicinity of $1.9 trillion that is likely going to be released, and there seems to be a lot of commitment coming towards it from both the Janet Yellen side of things as the Treasury Secretary and of course from Joe Biden, who are really wanting to get this deal across the line. But it's starting to bring up more questions of inflation. And when you see elements of a reflationary trade occurring in industrials and of course in things like the Russell 2000, your chances of it actually occurring start to increase. The more people talk about something, the more chances of it actually occurring. Though in this instance, it's the numbers that are starting to show us that we might start to see it, with some projections estimating that by the middle of this year, we will see 4% for a CPI figure. Now, in my book, I don't think this is the end of the pandemic saga, but perhaps the next chapter for us all have a look. And it is starting to gain a little bit of traction and momentum to keep pushing it along. Now, realistically, what might we be looking at in the case of inflation and a reflationary trade? In this instance, global shares are probably starting to still be sitting in that sweet spot, but it is around the corner and there is some risk that comes with it. Of course, the more inflation we have, the more the cost of goods. But people need to remember that whilst we're so used to right now having very low levels of interest, it doesn't necessarily mean that having higher numbers, higher levels of borrowing costs, and ultimately a higher level of inflation is necessarily a bad thing. But it is a bad thing when it gets there too quickly and we lose control of how quickly it moves into hyperinflation. Both of those are naturally issues, but we're not there yet. We haven't seen full evidence of it actually occurring just yet. We haven't even gotten the stimulus package. So a lot of these elements are probably a little bit ahead of schedule. Now, in the other side of things to look at today in terms of bigger news events is we've already talked about Tesla. We've heard about the Tesla buy of Bitcoin, $1.5 billion going towards that Bitcoin purchase. So in that instance, it is a little bit odd. If you were to track the difference between Tesla and Bitcoin versus the S&P 500, there is a greater correlation between the price of the S&P 500 and Tesla, but there's an even better one between Bitcoin and Tesla. So we are getting pretty good figures when it comes to that side of things, that they are quite heavily correlated. What's the element that actually makes this the correlation? Because there's really no relationship between them until now when they've actually bought Bitcoin. The answer is the people who trade Tesla also tend to trade Bitcoin. So you have a social aspect of trading. Again, not long after we've seen the GME side of things in the last couple of weeks. Now, pushing forward on what's gone on with this saga, I suppose the advantage of now when you look at Tesla is that if you were to purchase Tesla, you also get some exposure to cryptocurrencies. So that is a little bit of a benefit to consider, but depending on how you look at the scenario, you might not be interested in being a part of that. Now, at this stage, moving forward for tonight's action, we do have some news for the euro. We're going to be seeing some figures out for the US dollar, and early in the morning, we're going to be hearing from Fed Chair Powell. So keep an eye on your economic calendars. Have a quick look at them on our ACY Economics calendar page, and you'll get a bit of a better idea on what the forecasts are for this evening. Now, that's all for today's video. I do hope you have enjoyed my little bits of wisdom. And of course, don't forget that you can always get in contact with me via any of my social media channels, and like and subscribe to this video so you can get more great content from me and ACY Securities in the future. Have a great trading day ahead.